Good morning. I'd like to call the Highway and Waterways Committee meeting of Thursday, January 19, 2022 to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Dennell?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Armour Earps?
Present.
Mr. Ashcraft?
Present.
Ms. Rittman-Agemi? Ms. Turner?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand? We have a quorum.
Thank you. I don't have any public comments on the desk here. Is there any public comments? Is there any public comments? Here none. Next on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes for December 22nd, 22. Can I have a motion? Mr. Donnell, second by Mr. Ashcraft. Everybody in favor signify by say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We don't have any bidding or letting, so next will be the county engineer's pay estimate, and of course, we generally go ahead and approve that, but I was asked by the engineer to do a little highlight on the pay estimates today, so it's all yours.
These are kind of a mishmash of everything. They're not their usual end of the year, same old pay estimates for construction jobs. So the first one we have here is for our pay estimate number 5 for Kankakee County, section 22-00000-00-GM for Cargill Incorporated. This is for our rock salt that we use on the roads during the winter. And as you can see, we're paying $82 a ton this year. The price went up. And that amount is $25,330.64 from our county motor fuel tax fund. Next is pay estimate 7 for Kankakee County, section 22-00000-00-GM, supplement 3 for Ennis Flint Incorporated. They supply our traffic paint for our striping on county roads. You can see what we're paying, it's around $10 or $11 a gallon. Yellow costs more than white because of the chemicals they put in. But grand total for that one is $55,112.40 from the county MFT fund. Next is Kankakee County, just 23-00000-00-SBI. Pay estimate 1 to Engineering Resource Associates. That is for bridge inspection services they provided in the past month for special inspections and or meetings with IDOT regarding some of the issues we were having with our bridges. And that amount is $11,852.00 from the county bridge fund. Next is Kankakee County. This is a miscellaneous pay estimate number 1 to Engineering Resource. We were going to try to design a temporary fix to the County Highway 17 bridge that we've got closed right now. So this is the cost for them to provide that. And it's from just our other services and charges fund in the amount of $4,111.00. And that's all I have.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Mr. Smith, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious what kind of temporary fix needed to be done.
They were proposing putting a steel beam under some of the concrete beams that were bad, but it turned out the way they were designing that, IDOT didn't approve that, and that's when we switched, and we're just going to replace the bridge. We're not going to try to do the temporary fix because by the time we got done doing that, we could have been halfway done with the bridge design. So that's the path we're going down now.
Thank you.
Mr. Featherling.
What all do they do for an inspection for $11,000? Do they ultrasound it and all that stuff too?
Well, it's not just one bridge, it's lots of bridges throughout the county. Right. We had IDOT, when they were coming out having problems with our inspections, they were coming out to meet with them. We ran around, at least a couple of days, we ran around the county to all these bridges, and each one kind of takes a half an hour to get to. And
it says quantity 1, so I just assumed that.
Oh, it's a lump sum bill, and I don't know if you got the second page to the it kind of details more what they were doing as part of that.
Anybody else? Comments or questions? Hear none. All right, so I'm gonna need a motion and a second to approve the county engineer's pay estimates. Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Turner. Need a roll call, please.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Dennell?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling? Aye. Mr. Snipes? Aye. Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Armours? Aye. Mr. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Ms. Turner? Aye. Mr. Wheeler? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, so there's no resolution for today. So next on the agenda would be an update on the waterways for the Aroma Park Sinvent project. And I'm assuming that, Chairman Wheeler, do we have someone that's gonna do an update, or are you gonna do the update? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These I ask for regular updates monthly when anything are coming from the engineering firm. And in this case, you have it in your packet. They're going to type it out. If there's something, I want to say major, that he wants to discuss with the committee, they'll either Zoom in or come on up here, or something that we need. But I don't want to incur $2,000 in expense for having somebody drive up here for the meeting from Indianapolis just to go back home. So,
Okay.
And in this case, I think this suffices here. We had the kickoff meeting, as it says here, on December 22nd. It was the first meeting of this group, and they discussed the design. They had their initial coordination with Rock Island District of the Army Corps to discuss the application and through Section 10 permitting. Now, what I did find out, is they're going to have to, as we mentioned, we still have money left on the grant, so we were going to look to go back upriver towards the Ryan's Pier area to see how far we could get. So they're going to have to do some more bathymetrics on that area to figure out exactly what the path will be. And then, so they're going to, and it says here, they're trying to get it by the end of February, and that's TBD, to get that new survey done, and then back in our hands what they're thinking as far as total cubic yards of sand that they can get out. So they're going to set up the pre-construction and pre-application meetings, estimated draft permits beginning in March or sooner, depending on this additional bathymetric survey. It has they've expended almost $13,000 of the $60,000 that's been approved for design and permitting. And they indicated that the U.S. Army Corps had seen an article in some publication somewhere, and had noted that, and we knew this, but they're going to want a muscle study of that area. Yes, and John's going to pull out the big guns. There you go. But no, they have to go, that whole area used to have a lot of mussel species in it. Since the sand took over, that may not be the case, but the Corps does that. So we're still looking at, mid-year, hopefully to have that done. And then depending on how far we can go, how far the sand has to be trucked, and then the structures that we were going to build into the area, into the natural area, Burke was going to be suggesting some ways to keep the sand moving instead of piling back up in that side of the island over there. There's things you can do to keep the water moving. As we saw a little bit of those pictures from Indiana, those little tails that go out into the water, they build those to kind of push the channel along so the sand just doesn't drop when the water slows down. So more to come. This is just a start, but I figured the committee would want an update when there is something to update.
Questions? Comments? Mr. Snipes?
Okay, up on the forums, the U.S. Army Corps indicated that a mutual survey may be needed on the Kankakee what? To prove no endanger. Are they talking about the river? Are they talking about the land around it? What are they stating that has to be done? And I think you are saying it's going to be done, confirmed at the pre-application, but what is going to be confirmed at the pre-application?
I'm sorry, mussels don't live on land. They live in the water. I don't know how to answer that question.
It says indicate that a mussel survey may be needed on the Kankakee to prove no endanger or critical species are present. So are we talking just the mussels? Are we talking in addition to any type of wildlife or whatever that would be an endangerment that's existing in our river? Or is that just specific mussels, and is that, and even if it was that, the wording here just says needed on the Kankakee. So if you're talking just that, we assume that it's just a river, is that it? And if it is, put it in a document.
My understanding that is just relation to the river, and what was stipulated will be the mussel. So if there is anything else that they want to be included on the studies, we'll probably will know. They will notify us, but
Yes, they prove no endangered or critical species are present. So that's why I'm saying, are they just limited to this mussel? Was it other things that they're looking for? And then this going to say Kankakee River, it needs to say maybe needed on the Kankakee to prove. It doesn't say Kankakee River. So what I'm saying is, if it's just the Kankakee River, then have that included in this document, because a word or something is missing.
well, the project is Kankakee River.
The river. I mean, do people ask Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, you know, the mighty Mississippi? You know, I mean, come on. You know what the answer to that question is.
It makes no difference. If anybody was to read this, we want to make sure it's plain. Whether you understand it or not is one thing. I want it to be plain. If the word is missing, put it in there. The Kankakee River. Otherwise, when you say the Kankakee, it could be the land around Kankakee. When you're saying species, you open up the doors to things that lives around the river.
No, we're not.
Oh, yes, you do. If you're saying endangered or critical species,
Mr. Chairman,
present.
can we move on? I've answered the question.
No, he talks up in there, but you don't. If I'm not satisfied, we need to have the word Kankakee River put in the document.
Mr.
I'd like to make a motion, we move on.
Good motion made. Second. Everybody in favor, signify by say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Same sign. Okay. Is anybody else first time? Any questions or comments? Second time. Do you have anything else for us?
That's it. There'll be more comments as the engineers give us information.
Okay. Personally, I think this is a very exciting time for all of us. I've been watching, you know, things happen with Kankakee River for a very long time, and I'm very excited to see that we are now being proactive when it comes to do something about the river. You know, it's been always well-used river during the summer, spring, summer, and some of you guys, they already have boats, and you know that. And so that's gonna be, well, gonna take time. You know, this is going to be a study, it's going to be a development of a project, it's going to be taking action into the project. So, and we don't know until everything starts what else we need to do and modify. You know, if you been accustomed to do a remodeling at home, you know that before you open the wall, you don't even know what you're going to find. So I think we have to keep up every month having updates and know exactly what are the steps we need to take. It's not a matter of we cannot give all the answers in one meeting and say, okay, this is how it's going to be, this is what we're going to do, and when we're going to start, when we're going to finish. So we all going to have to be patient, and we all have to contribute to give some ideas and feedback into this. Mr. Fedlin?
Yeah. Speaking of the mussel thing, when we had this project, when we had the original project for that area, probably 7, 8 years ago, I don't even remember, Andy, it could be 6, 7 years ago.
Can you use the mic,
6,
please?
7 years ago, we had, Aqua had, the guy who did all his, outside stuff, they're not there anymore. Culver, that's it. He went out there and did they do test tubes. They check for the mussels, you know, they go around and move the sand, and then they're looking for certain kinds of things in the water to help clean the water and eat the bacteria and stuff that's in the water. So he had been doing a mussel study on a regular basis in that area there. He had like maybe 8 or 10 spots that he would hit. So I don't know where those studies are at or who has them, but they brought them to our meeting and said, no, we're good to go. We don't have any problems there. So, but that isn't, you know, a mussel company. how they get that. But anyway, being that we're having a nice mild winter, I hope it stays this way. Everything could get going in the spring real good if we don't get a nice jam up or a bad jam up that we usually get. So it's not even, I don't think it's even frozen ever yet this year, I don't think. It might have in some of the shallower areas, but I don't think the main rivers ever froze. So.
Okay. Yeah. This armor through C4. There we go.
Is the river all county responsibility, or does city have any responsibility if we do something there?
Responsibility, I'm trying to think, it's probably not the right word. City has purview over their dam, but really DNR and then Army Corps of Engineers. So it's Army Corps, DNR, then down to, although we do have some jurisdiction over out of the planning department over, you know, easements and setbacks and people trying to build on the river, but really the Coast Guard actually has a role in that as well, since it's a navigable stream. So I believe that means the property owners own up until the water line. It doesn't go into the middle of the river. I believe that's the case. Is that correct, John? Yes. Yeah, we did talk about that. So if it's not navigable, then the property owner owns to the middle of the river. But if it is, yeah.
My question is, when we do something in Aroma Park, and obviously it's going to flow down the river where the city owns, are they going to have any responsibility for making changes at their end? I'm just wondering, you know, be sure what we're doing in Aroma Park as it goes downriver, is there going to be any effect that?
Well, if we use Indiana as any guide, there is always an effect. There's always been sand coming since there was glaciers melting, but it came in slow little pushes. Now it comes in major whooshes when it rains. So they're doing it in such a manner that they want to dredge and not create things downstream that are problems. But when you unsettle something, something else happens. All those sand bars and islands are moving, and they have been for 50 years. We've got the actual maps of where they were, where they are, where they were, went away, and then came back. You know, it's really strange to see that. So there's always the law of unintended consequences, but that's what the Army Corps is for, to minimize that.
As a realtor, I just know that it's a big changes on the river. People wanted to vote, now they can't vote. And other things. I was just curious what kind of survey we've done or anything like that, how it affects further down.
Yeah, we're doing this so they can vote, and we can get the emergency craft in the water out of our own park. So that would not be a good outcome.
All right. What I can say with some of the other comments that were made is that a few years back, probably about 3.5 years ago, I had a meeting with the lieutenant for the Coast Guard out of Marine Safety, and we talked about Kankakee River. And he is in charge of Waterways for the Coast Guard, and he looked that up on the computer and said, yes, Kankakee River is under the jurisdiction of the Coast Guard because it's navigable river. So I already knew that a few years back, and in relation to the other comments, when it comes to this, some species on water, there is a process a lot of times, and I've been into some of the meetings together with the Coast Guard, in meeting with Army Corps engineers and the others, where we sat together and we looked into, actually there was the Asian carp in Chicago. So there is a process, and we'll find out as things go by, keep coming, because there are meetings, they talk, and they make suggestions, we have questions. So it's not something that's gonna be resolved overnight. So, but we keep adjusting everything as things appear or happen. Is there any other comments or questions? I hear none. We don't need any motion. That's just an update on the process, on the work. Is there any old business to come before this committee? If there's any old business? Any new business? Is there any new business? Other business? Mr. Snipes?
Yeah, let me state for the record something. If y'all made a motion that was out of really order, because when you open for discussion or debate, if I had the floor And unless you done changed the bylaws, because I definitely went back to read them, it's the second time that you have a 5-minute limit. It does not the first time. And if I have the floor, I don't care who answers, how they answer, or whatever, that person don't end my debate at any given point in time by making it out of the air motion. If you had a motion to end debate, then you can have placed that up on the floor. Any other one would have been out of order. I don't care who the person was that made it. So in a point of order, if I'm ever interrupted again and it's not correct with our bylaws, do know that I don't care who's talking, we're going to have an issue, and I'll hold the floor until that issue is resolved under our bylaws, our ordinances, or the Robert Rules of Order, period. So that's my comment for the record.
Thank you. All right. I have a motion to adjourn, second from Mr. Smith, Federlin. Everybody in favor signify by say aye. Anybody opposed, the same sign.